Colleen Taylor.
I'm Matt Burns.
And I'm Leena Rao.
We're backstage at TechCrunch's 2012 San Francisco, and we're in a break now, as Jason Kincaid just said. Just wrapped up the second round of today's Startup Battlefield finalists.
Yeah.
This was all about disrupting learning. So education startups. We're going to be talking.
A really good group.
It was a good group. All day and throughout the whole conference, I feel like we've had people on stage saying, I wish there were more education startups. I wish there were more health startups. And this was the education track. If you have anything to say about it, we're reading Twitter, TC Disrupt, hashtag TC Disrupt. But what did you guys think? The first one up was Kenobi, which is a web application with some motion capture technology.
I thought it was a really neat system. What they do is they use the Microsoft Connect and they plug it into the computer, and they allow users to track their own body movements. So for say you're trying to learn yoga, as I try to do occasionally, which I always fail, where this will allow you to do the different motions, and then it'll tell you if you're doing it right or wrong. So then they build it out from there. They allow people to teach, and then you can learn, and so not only for yoga, but perhaps for physical therapy.
Right.
So there's a large market there as well.
Yeah, sounds good. New Orleans based, which it's kind of cool to see these companies coming from all over.
It's great.
Big thing. What did the judges think?
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, what's the market for that? Is it a technology that they would offer to, like a yoga studio or something?
Yeah, it could be for something like that. It could also, like I said, physical therapy, so you can build it out from there and allow people to learn from home or learn from the comfort, the privacy really of home. Because like I said, the yoga thing, I want to know how to do it, but I don't want to go in front of a whole bunch of pretty girls and try to do it.
you want to
I would rather sweat it out at home.
Right, makes sense. And so the second one here was HackerRank, which is a social platform for hackers to solve problems like AI challenges, machine learning, all the tough stuff for hackers. They've raised a bunch of money, which was interesting. These
From
are one of
these, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
Khosla has backed them.
I don't know how disruptive that is. I mean, it sounds like there have been other sort of social networks for hackers that have been launched over the past few years. I'm curious what you guys think.
It was they kind of gamified it a bit. So everything is, you can code together, code against each other. And so then that's where the ranking comes in. The better or the best hackers kind of race to the top. And they launched, they said, over the last few months.
Yeah.
And they logged an incredible milestone for user interaction.
Oh, really?
The average time on the site was something like 83 minutes. And it was, I don't want to quote numbers, but it was a whole lot of page views, a whole lot of interactions.
Yeah, it was good because it hooks into GitHub, which is where hackers are.
Yeah.
So they're smart about building it, because I do think, the social network for hackers, most developers I know are actually not really into social networking. They like to build this stuff. They don't personally like to participate in it for whatever reason.
More of a social collaboration learning tool.
Yeah.
If you can throw together 3 buzzwords like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the next one was Expect Labs. Building an anticipatory computing engine that anticipates our needs. And so what they really presented here was MindMeld, like a voice and video calling app.
Yeah, so it sounds like as you're talking to someone on the phone, it'll show you contextual information about what you're talking about.
They used an iPad for the demo, so there would be an interaction there, and you could swipe between different slides. And so you say, I want to go to a certain restaurant, and then you'll show it, or I want to talk to a certain person, and it'll show it. And the iPad's neat, but I pictured myself using it at home. It would be really neat to have like a station or a desktop computer or an office computer.
Right.
So it'll be stationary in a sense.
Yeah, I guess they've got to start with one thing, and the iPad is a hot space, but they got a lot of good tweets about it. Marin Perez said, MindMeld looks snazzy. I wouldn't be surprised to see it get snapped up in the not too distant future. People are already saying this is an acquisition target. Do they have a bunch of funding? Or Expect Labs says 2.4 million. So
the UI was beautiful.
Yeah,
it was a good UI, and it seemed like they had a good proprietary technology there. And the I believe the founder, one of the founders, has already had an acquisition under his belt. He sold his company Truvio to AOL, our parent company. So. That was a few years ago, so he's an experienced entrepreneur.
Somebody will snap up that company.
Ooh, you're
They
calling
really
it.
would,
Yeah.
So prior knowledge was the next one. This is a database, predictive database technology here. I did know it was Mark Suster, I think, who was just very upfront about, hey guys, I don't get it. This was a complicated one.
That seemed to be a pretty common thing throughout the audience. We were sitting there as well. And the writer that wrote it up for us, Alex, was right behind me. And I heard him mutter that it was pretty hard to cover because it was a very detailed, oriented thing, but at the same time it seemed really smart because it's predictive and it learned. And so
basically what they do is they take data, massive amounts of data, and then predict what the next stage of that data would be, or what would happen next. Like,
I hope. I think.
We still don't know. Because when I read through Alex's post, it's and he did a great job with that. It seemed that they're already being used by a retailer to predict customer behavior or purchase behavior based on what they've already purchased. So, but then again, like translating that into sales is a totally different situation. So
right. And they have some funding from Founders Fund. Maybe they'll kind of get their messaging a little bit more clear. One person tweeted, Leena Utella tweeted a quote that they said on stage, we have more MIT degrees than people. So it's definitely kind of like an egghead kind of thing.
That's a good way to build a product.
Right. But then if you want to put it out there, maybe you need some people who have degrees,
exactly.
other degrees. But MIT people can communicate too. I don't know. Listen. Next one, Study Hall. This is a social networking platform to connect students for studying.
I really like this one. It's a really big collaborative tool for students. So it's I guess let's throw some more things together. A productive student social network where it's like a Yammer where everybody collaborates, and there's a wiki function built in. There's a marketplace function as well. So you can not only sell your books, but you can put together study guides and sell study guides on there as well.
Yeah. And that's the angle of, because one of the panelists, Ms. Levy,
Ellen
Levy, blanking, she had brought up, I see why a struggling student would use this, but why would a well-performing student use this? Why would they want to use it to tutor other people? But if they can sell study guides or something.
They can sell study guides, and often a good performing student knows that comes from teaching somebody else as well.
For sure.
And rehashing that information.
Right.
And it seemed like a very robust platform. It's not a single trick dog at all.
Right, yeah, and it's aimed just at college students. So I think in education it's helpful to have it aimed at just one.
And just the students, not the teachers.
It's just
they
for...
want to lock out the teachers.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because there's definitely a number of education platforms that are more aimed at the classroom as opposed to just the students. So this could be an interesting angle.
I think it could make it hard to sell that way. Because the university would theoretically have to implement it. And if they want to lock the teachers out, I don't know how.
Great, guys, we've got to go to the stage. We're back on.